So, hey, Joe, good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you too. Good, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And as I had mentioned, this is 50s Nifty is an initiative mainly for people in midlife, the name suggests, and also for empty nesters. I mean, a lot of folks in Springford area, we know each other, our kids who are in Springford. A lot of
Yes.
folks now are in that empty nesting age. And what we do is we do a lot of in-person and Zoom events for local, but also for global folks to bridge the gap, but within this age range, empty nesters. And I think, I mean, what I know is public service is a great way in the midlife and for empty nesters. And I know that you've been doing it since long. So, any thoughts on public service?
Well, I got involved on the school board when I was 33. I'm 53, so it's 20 years later. I think it's important to serve your community in whatever capacity you feel that you want to serve it, whether you want to get on the Parks and Rec Board or zoning commission or run for office or wherever you can, or be part of a local organization that does stuff. It keeps your mind going, and I got to meet so many people and make such great friends out of it that I can't speak any more highly of it.
Right. No. And I think, I mean, what we have seen is we see a lot of youth centers, we see a lot of senior centers around here and everywhere in the nation, which are of course needed. I mean, we need that. But I think there is a gap for folks who are in midlife and what they see suddenly, I mean, you've seen it, we have seen it, is suddenly the kids go out in college or maybe they are working and the husband and wife are at home and suddenly they don't know what to do with all that time.
Right, because you if you look at life, I mean, you live at home with your parents, you go off to college, you make all the friends, you hang out with the friends, you meet somebody, you fall in love, you get married, it's all new. You buy the house, you have the kids, and then all of a sudden, it's the kid's gone, and you're sitting in a house empty and looking at each other, going, "What just happened?"
Right, right.
Um, like, well, what do we do now? I mean, because for so long that was your focus of your life, and now what? And without being involved in organizations or maybe family, maybe you have a big family, or you don't have if you don't have a big family, now you're at a void. And sometimes the void is all right. People enjoy that quiet downtime. For me, it's 24/7. I gotta go. And my wife will always say, "You just don't stop." And I always say, when the top of the casket comes down is when you stop.
No.
You know, I can't stand the hours of looking at a box on the wall, or my mother used to say, the stupid box, the television for hours. And what is that doing for anybody?
Right. And television and now the phones. I mean, the whole social media and you're looking at your phones all the time. And but I think I mean what we were talking to a lot of folks and we do these events. What I found is people. I mean, like you said, you spend your time in public service, but a lot of folks they don't know what to do, and they suddenly are in loneliness, and their mind is going down, and that starts to create problems for them in their senior life.
Yes.
And I think what we need to do is this midlife is where we need to be proactive and figure out, hey, what do we want to do?
You know, my major was music with an emphasis on Broadway. And there's a song from, I think it's by Birdie, I have a lot of living to do.
Yeah,
Um, you know, Midlife is not the end of life. And I think that's where we get caught up. Oh, well, the kids are gone, and the dog died, and it's just us. And then what are we going? We're going to go for a nice dinner and we'll hang out with our friends. No, get out there and do stuff.
right.
If you want to get athletic, which this body was never made for athletic, but you know what? Get athletic. If I joined the Elks in Pottstown. We sworn in on Sunday, and you join the Elks. It's a social organization. They do things in the community. They do a monthly breakfast. I look forward to getting up at 4:30 in the morning and serving breakfast and BSing with people. And maybe there's Thursday night you play cards, and Tuesday night you do this, and on top of everything else, I do theater. because it's another avenue to go out there. And it also adds the opportunity for you and your significant other, whether it's your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, to have conversation about something other than, well, maybe we should paint this room. Yeah. What are we gonna have for dinner? You know, hey, last night at the theater, this went on. Oh, what a show. So-and-so showed up. Now, before you know it, that 3 hours you were watching TV for becomes a half hour because you spent 2.5 hours talking or interacting on some other level.
Right. No, I agree. And I think that's where some of these Zoom sessions we do with professionals like you or people who have achieved a lot is, and I think talking like this and our audience looking at this or listening to this gives them a nudge to say, hey, yeah, oh, yeah, great, I should be doing something like this also. And
look, it's not for everybody. I get the people who just want to go off into the sunset quietly and do their thing. Whatever fits your personality, your lifestyle is what you should do. But there are hundreds of different organizations, whether it's volunteering to do something or being part of something. Like we were walking the trail down in Collegeville on the other side of Graterford Prison, and like 30 bikes came up, and they were all older people. They were in this bike thing where they take like a week and they bike the trail and they spend the night on the trail, or some of them spend the night, some of them join up each day wherever they are. And it was just something else that you didn't have to think, I can't do it.
yeah,
I had the pleasure of many years ago of meeting a gentleman named George Abbott. I don't know if you know who George Abbott was. George Abbott was probably the most prolific Broadway director that ever lived. He was 106
oh,
when I met him.
wow.
Died, I think, at 106 or 107, right around there. The man swam into his early hundreds every day and walked. And so I say that because it's a number. We don't need that number to define where we go.
Right.
Look at Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Whether you like him as a politician or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Agreed.
Post the White House, the man did more for society than any other president had ever done.
Right.
And those are your inspirations to find it. And like I said, you could be on the boards of the park or zoning and planning, or be a board of supervisors, or run for state office,
Right.
or be a school board member. But do something to keep your mind going.
Right.
Something on these glasses is driving me crazy. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think in Collegeville area and maybe Royersford and this local Montgomery, do you know any other avenues where people maybe who are contemplating public service, like food pantries or any other?
Yeah, there's plenty of them. I mean, there's the food pantries, there's the libraries, there's the parks. I help out at Edgewood Cemetery in Pottstown that was abandoned. And there's a group that comes out and cleans it every few months and does different things within the cemetery. There's organizations you can join that go and paint. Go out into nature and they'll do nature things. Or there's a community choir or community band. There's bike clubs. The senior organization will have a lot, but if you Google organizations to join in Montgomery County, there's a ton of them that will come up.
Sure. I think once I put the video, maybe we'll put some links like that so people who are looking at this, maybe they can get some information. I would say maybe again, just for our audience, do you have any story or experience that resonates with you as you go through midlife?
I mean, I'll say it like it is. It sucked. The empty nest, there's no other way to put it.
Right.
I hate it. I hate it because you become selfish, right? You don't have that kid there anymore that's active, and you're active within what they're doing.
Right.
But as a parent, you have to let them grow. I think I stymied my son a little bit. That he's 25 now. He lives in Philly, and I didn't want him to leave, and that was my selfishness. Because at 17, I left. I went off to college, and I never came home again. And coming from an Italian family where you're the baby, that wasn't easy on my parents. And they ended up moving 4 hours, because I lived in Miami, 4 hours from me, so they could see more of me. My brother and sister were like, what about us? Back home, Orlando then, to see them from Miami. But I think as you're building and as your children are getting older, and you know the empty nest is coming, be prepared for it. Start getting active in organizations that you don't even fill the gap for your child, because it's never going to fill the gap, but fill that void that you may feel within you. I can't be busy enough. To me, yeah, I want to be busy 24/7.
Right.
I don't like to sleep. I think it's a waste of time. I just like to be busy. I like to be helping and doing. That's me. You know, my wife would like to do puzzles and she'd like to be active. But again, if that's what you feel you need, then that's what you do.
Right.
But don't feel like it's hopeless, that there's nothing there, that I don't know where, there's nowhere to go anymore. The kids are gone. I have no purpose, because that's not true. There's tons of purpose.
Right. And I think, I mean, what we see is people get more sick or problems in their senior life because in their midlife, they started getting into this loneliness and not working out or whatever is, hey, what do I do? And probably you have to be proactive at this age where maybe you start to think, hey, I should be better during my senior life. So.
And loneliness is a horrible way to feel. We all going to feel it at some point in our life. No matter how much you try and hold it off, some point you're going to feel it. But if you know that there's activities there and your friends group, I should say, a lot of friends. Some of my people go, well, you've got tons of friends. I do. I mean, I could be active 24/7 just in my friends group.
Right.
But I also put myself out there. So I meet people.
Right.
And there's a lot of satisfying things. When you think that your life is coming to that quiet point, and, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. And you get active in these organizations, see other people who don't have a third of what you really have. Also makes you feel better. And I'm a giver. So my wife would always say, if you win the lotto, you give it all away. Probably would, because I enjoy that. I want to see people smile and be happy.
Right.
So yeah, it's you never think you're going to get there, like your parents were there. Wow, that's your parents. And all of a sudden one day you wake up and there you are. I cried for weeks when my son left. Literally sat in his room and cried.
Yeah.
We only have one child, and it was really, it still is. It's still in me. It bothers me. But again, that's selfish to me, because he needs to flourish.
Yeah. I think you need to let them grow and let them go also, but always, I mean, help them out, but at the same time, not feel lonely. Yeah.
Right. And I want to have babies. I keep telling him, get married, have some kids so I can watch the babies.
The grandkids. Right?
Yeah, grandkids. I can't wait to have a grandchild. I know I'm still young, but he's like, well, I'm going to wait like 10 years. I'm like, why 10 years? I don't want you to wait that long. I'll give you 5.
Right. And you can spoil the grandkids. You don't spoil your kids, but you can spoil the grandkids.
I look forward to that, having the baby around and buying the toys and being able to play with them. And, my wife says the toys will be more for you than them. Yeah, probably. But, still be fun with them. I love kids. So for me, it's a time that I'll really be that next step. You go, wow.
Right.
But then you got to share them with another set of grandparents too. You got to remember that.
True. Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Because the son is married now, right?
Exactly. So, all right. Well, I got to share them.
Yeah. You learn new things, and that's what life is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say, like, I mean, again, you're in public service, and knowing this midlife and empty nesting. Are there like some initiatives or maybe public policies that can help folks in this empty nesting?
Well, public policy, you can't really dictate a policy for that. But what you can do is support the local organizations with grants and finances to make sure the opportunities are there for people to be involved. So support your local municipalities on their parks and rec side and their libraries. Support your local fire companies and civic organizations. So then people have a place where they can go. The Tri-County Adult Senior Center in Pottstown, which is, of course, in my district, is a wonderful place. Every day is a lunch. There's activities 24/7. And I see a lot of the same people when I go up there. And these people are very active, older people, older than midlife, seniors who have stayed active, and it gives them a place to go, and they play cards, or they do exercise, or they read, and it keeps them going. Like Monday is this, Tuesday is that, Wednesday is always an activity. My parents were mooses. They joined the Moose. I grew up in the Moose Lodge. You know, they had a dance twice a month that they worked to do, and in between they'd have meetings, and there were dinners and activities. So there was always something going on that they stayed active with.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I would encourage people to do, is look for those organizations. Well, I don't know if I'm going to like this. Nothing says you got to stay.
Yeah.
Try it.
Right.
You try that meal. If you don't like it, you don't have it again. But try it and see if it's something that you will flourish in. For me, theater is my escape. Yes, I love to perform. Of course, that's my background. But it's also the people you meet and the things that go on, the camaraderie you build. So that has been a big part of my life. You know.
Yeah, I think, I mean, again, if maybe later you can, or your office can send some of the links to nearby like food pantries and other areas where people in midlife can go and start doing some whatever public surveys and all of that. So I would like to add that to the video later.
Yeah, and there's political organizations, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. There's always meetings that's going on there where you may want to door knock, or mailers, or just get involved with people who are doing that. I got a good friend of mine who is in his late 30s, almost 40, who volunteers at the Philadelphia airport 2 days a week at the information desk.
Right.
When I was at the Kimmel Center, we had volunteers at the Kimmel Center. Maybe once a month you'd show up and volunteer. And you got to see the shows. And so there are those, you may have to drive a little, but there are those opportunities that people should look at. I don't know if the stadiums and the arenas have the same thing. I think they would. Maybe they don't take hundreds of people, but they do take people to help volunteer.
Right. And like you said, there are lots of opportunities for people and again, as I was saying, we do organize more events both in person and in Zoom, because I think a lot of, at the same time, what I've seen is people in this midlife, they are still working. So they don't have, it's not like they are retired. They are still working, and they may not have time all the time, but doing Zoom sessions, talking to other folks. And what we also do is not only maybe local, we also have national, but also international. And what I've seen is we did the last interview for personal exercise and growth, and people globally joined. And what we found that people in midlife have similar pains and aches. It's not like you're in US or in Royersford, you have a different pain or ache. It's global.
People are people.
People are people.
No matter where we live, no matter what our culture is, no matter what our backgrounds are, we're all the same. You know, I often say there's only so many models. What they say, there's 6 of everybody that's duplicated in the world.
7, right?
You know, it's what somebody said once. If we get in a room with 10 people you don't know, by the end of the hour that you're in that room and you've really had a conversation, you'll find so many things that you have in common.
Right.
And you could say, put me in a room, I'm a Democrat with a Republican. Oh my gosh. You know, there's more that we have in common than not.
Right.
But we tend to go to those areas that, oh, well, you know, he's Irish, you're Italian, he's African American, you're white, he's Republican, you're Democrat, he's Jewish, you're Catholic. All that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. We're people. Right. We all care about the same values. We may go, it's like you go on 95 and I go on US 1, but we both arrive at the same place. And I think that's what we have to remember when we go to join organizations, go in with an open mind. Right. Everybody wants the same thing at the end of the day. They want to be happy. Right. They want to feel good about themselves. They want to live a fulfilled life. And when you go in with that attitude, there's no problem that you can't overtake.
Right. And I think, I mean, again, when you meet people, you get other perspectives. So, and you say, oh, wow, yeah, I never thought it like that. And get more information. And that always helps everyone to grow. So.
Well, I laugh at my friends who are of the Jewish faith, because growing up in New York, the Italians and the Jewish community were almost identical. I would say, my mother makes lasagna, yours makes kugel. You know, we were always the ones that if there was something that happened, it was their kids. You know, our mothers were always overprotective. You couldn't tell the difference between our parents. And we would laugh about it.
Right.
But that's in every single culture.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Right. Right.
And sometimes we don't want to recognize it because we're afraid of not understanding what that culture is, or I can't be part of that organization. Why not?
Right. Right. Right.
People accept people. It doesn't matter who you are. And that's really when we talk about when we hit the midlife, open up your horizons.
Yeah.
We've all been here. You grew up with your family, you grew up in that small little neighborhood where everybody was like you. And I ventured 1,500 miles away from home to a place I never had been, to people who I didn't know when I went to college. And that really was like, wow.
Yeah.
It took a little bit to get used to it, but once you did,
yeah.
it was fine.
Right. And I think like you're saying, the midlife is the time where you don't have much. You don't have to run behind the kids, and you're doing your job, but now you have a lot of time. So this is the time where maybe you can learn other things, and with organizations and meeting people, other cultures, and bridge that gap.
Yep. Explore the culture.
Right. No. Mhm.
Open the horizon. I mean, it's like trying the new food. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Move on to the next thing.
Right.
I had allergies all through my adolescence, and for years I was afraid to go to the allergist, so I wouldn't eat certain foods. I never ate a berry, never had avocado. Still haven't had. I've had a little bit of fish. I've just dabbled in it. About 3 months ago, I went and finally had the full panel again, and it showed I was allergic to nothing. And my wife said, I told you that for all those years. And for me, it was, I never ate strawberry before. I never had a blackberry or blueberry or raspberry. This was a whole new world to me. Never had avocado, and I had scallops once. I had a little bit. She's like, you could eat more than that, but I was still apprehensive. So it opened like a world that I've never seen before. Right. It's the same thing that we're talking about. Right. You worked your whole life. You were dedicated. You did the kids' sports or the kids' theater or the kids' organizations. When you were younger, yeah, you did all this, but over the last 20 years plus, that all went away. Right. Now it's time to discover all that again, or something new. Right. We also, sorry.
No, I was saying it's the perfect time to do this, because once you are more older, you have time now and probably more energy to try all these things.
And when you're sitting in that rocking chair, when you can't do it anymore, and you're old, and you're into the winter of your life, you got great memories you can go back and remember and say, I lived a full life. Right. That's all we all want, is to live a full life and be happy.
Agree.
But there are thousands of different things that people can do. Countless things and organizations to be involved in.
Right.
That don't take money either. You don't need to have money in order to do it.
No, it does not. I mean, yeah, to volunteer and do public service, I mean, you don't need a lot of money. You just go and do service to other people.
Right.
Very satisfying, right?
Right. Or just do things for yourself. Play pickleball, ride the bike, walk the trail, join the theater, join a chorus, get into a quilting organization. It's all satisfying. My mother was a bingo goer, so we grew up in a bingo hall.
Oh, okay.
But she enjoyed it. So she had all her friends. They go to dinner before, they go to bingo 2 nights a week. People play cards. It's the same thing. Just find the rhythm that fulfills you.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very good conversation. And I think that's the point, is when people hear these kind of interviews and conversations, it gives them a nudge. Hey, look at Joe.
Yeah. Joe, he's getting gray. I do look for things to keep me active, to fulfill. I love what I do. I love this position. I love the people I deal with. Even the ones who get mad at you, I'm fine with that. I understand it. That's what the job's about. But I always want to make sure that we've given the people the opportunity to better themselves too. And supporting those organizations, like you said, to help them better themselves, or feel like everyone should feel a value. Yeah. And I think sometimes when the empty nest comes, you don't know your spouse anymore either, because you spent so many years on the kid or the kids that you don't know each other anymore.
Right.
and you feel, where do I fit in now? How do I fit in? And everybody has value, so find your path.
And even with the spouse, you go to dates with your spouse again.
Right, you rediscover, and maybe they're not the person you want to be with anymore.
Oh.
Because I mean, it does happen, you know it. How many
Right.
people get midlife and go,
Right,
we
right.
have nothing in common, and it's not all the time, of course not. But you know what I mean, like rediscover each other.
Right, right. No, I agree. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
no, it's good conversation. I mean, let me ask, like, what kind of legacy would you want to leave to local community or midlife folks or?
well, my legacy, of course, is that we raised a great kid, and our child is set and had a wonderful childhood and is able to be an adult who feels like he can nurture people and nurture himself and have a family. Community wise, that I've left my mark. I've done everything I can to better the community. You know, when I left the school board, I felt I left the school board in a great place. I chose to leave the school board. I didn't get not elected. I wasn't pushed out of office, say you shouldn't run again. It was just time. I did what I felt I could do, and now I'm passing the torch to you and everybody else. From a state perspective, is that we get the state in a place where people feel like, wow, this is a great state of Pennsylvania. We're on the right path. You know what my initiatives have been: educational funding, restoration of commuter rail or a transportation solution, you know, to help people feel like they can live every day financially. So that's the legacy. But I always tell my colleagues this: we dedicate ponds and bridges and all that when people pass away. And they think I'm nuts when I say this, but I always say, if any of you are here when I pass, and I hope none of you are, because we all should be gone, and hopefully I'm very old, I want the worst road in the state dedicated to me. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, because no one remembers that serene lake, but they remember that road that they're sitting on every day.
Right, right.
You know, they're using your name every day. And they laugh at me. They said, there's something wrong with you. I said, well, there might be. But, you know, all kidding aside, I want to know that I've done as much as I can do and given everything I can and didn't hold back to help move our community. If you save one person or move one person, you've accomplished more than you set out to.
Right.
And that's really what I'd like to leave as a legacy, and say that's it. You know, I was there for who I had to be there for. I was there to help, and, you know, always wanted to help.
Right. No, very good point. And I think hopefully audience listening to this, if we can get one or two people, even one or two people to get into public service or whatever, the empty nesters to move, that would be so great, right? I mean,
So feel fulfilled. And again, don't ever think you can't do it. Try.
right.
Now, I'm not advocating you go skydiving tomorrow. Although my son keeps going, oh, let's go skydiving. You go skydiving, even though I don't want you to. I hate getting in a plane to begin with. I'm not jumping out of it. You know, but maybe you do. George Bush.
Yeah.
Was he 90 when he skydived the last time?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if that's what's on your bucket list, then do it.
Yeah, right.
Well, I might die. You might not. And if you do, well, you die doing something you love. I mean, what am I going to tell you? Again, I'm not advocating that by any stretch of the imagination, but if that's what you want to be, to feel fulfilled, then go and do it.
Yeah.
Age should not stop you. And if they want to come to our office and talk about opportunities, you're all welcome. 301 North Lewis Road, right by Ace Hardware and Susie Joe Donuts. You know, come to the office, sit down with us. We'll help wherever we can. If there's questions you have, but age is a number.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't define you.
Right.
I've met people in the hundreds. I've met people in their 20s. The people in their hundreds sometimes are more active than the people in their 20s.
Right.
You know, so again, I appreciate your time with me, and if there's anything I can do to help, or if you're having activities, let me know. I'm more than happy to come out and be part of it. Like I said, I'm looking for stuff to do too. You know, I'm in that group with those people. All of us are in this group together.
Right. No, I agreed. I mean, like I said, we do several Zoom sessions and in person. So I will provide the links to your office, and if people can join those and get help, that's the whole point. I mean, and it's a nonprofit, it's free. So any help from your office would be greatly.
Yeah, anything we can think of. I mean, we'll try and help you.
Sure, sure, sure. Thank you again, Joe, for your time.
Thank you. A pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
You
Talk
take
to you
care.
again. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.